Our first lesson in our measurement unit is looking at metric conversion. Metric conversion is converting between our units that we use in Canada. So our official system of measurement in Canada is called SI, which stands for System International de Units, so it's French. And it's just our system of measurement that we use consistently within Canada, and we call it our metric system. So this system was developed in the late 1700s, just with the aim of making things common, making things the same for everybody, so that when you talked about how tall you were, you actually were able to understand how that height compared to somebody else's height. The metric system is based on the meter. The meter is a fixed unit of length that is 1/10,000,000th of the distance from the equator to the North Pole and passing through Paris. So that's just a fun fact. Length conversions are as follows. So you have a formula sheet that has these length conversions on them, so you hopefully aren't having to flip back and forth too much, but if you can't find that sheet at any time, you can always go back and reference these. So notice that it depends on which direction we're moving between our units. So if we want to go from kilometers to meters, or meters to centimeters, or centimeters to millimeters, we will always be multiplying. When we're going from a larger unit of measure to smaller, we're multiplying. If we switch directions, so we want to go from millimeters to centimeters, centimeters to meters, meters to kilometers, we are dividing, okay? We can see the same thing happens with our mass conversions and our capacity conversions. So we're really just following along with the arrows in the chart. So let's try some examples. Convert the following measurements: 8 kilometers to meters. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at our chart above. We're going to say if we're starting at kilometers and we want to end at meters, what arrow are we using? So if we want to start at kilometers and go to meters, we are going in this direction. So we are timesing by 1,000. So all we're going to do is take the number of kilometers, which is 8, and we are going to times by 1,000. Now you can put this in your calculator if you need to, but you should be able to do a bit of mental math here. 8 times 1,000 is 8,000. All right, B, meters to millimeters. So again, let's look above. I'm going to erase the highlighting I've drawn. We are going from meters to millimeters. So what I want you to notice is there's not one single step to go from meters to millimeters. We have to go from the M to the cm, and then from the cm to the mm. So this is a two-step conversion, meaning that we are timesing by 100 and we're timesing by 10. So we can do this all in one step. We can times by 100 and times by 10. The other way that you can think of this, timesing by 100 and then timesing by 10, this is really the same as just timesing by 1,000, right? You're just thinking about how many zeros you have. So this ends up being 3,000 millimeters. All right, next, millimeters to centimeters. So let's go back above. Again, I'll erase this. You could just be tracing along with your fingers. We're going from millimeters to centimeters. So now we're going backwards, so we're dividing by 10. So we're going to take 73, we're going to divide by 10. Again, you could put this in your calculator, or you can do mental math. You're going to end up with 7.3 centimeters. Next, we're going from centimeters to kilometers. So looking at your chart above, starting at centimeters, we want to go to kilometers. So we have 2 steps in the division direction. We're dividing by 100 and we're dividing by 1,000. So divide by 100 and then divide by 1,000. So to put this in your calculator, you're just doing 7,890 divided by 100 equals divided by 1,000 equals. So go ahead and try that in your calculator. All right, E. So E is a little bit different because we have some units in centimeters and we have some units in meters. What we want is our final answer to be in centimeters. So in order to do that, we're going to need to start by working with the meters. We have 7.2 meters. We want to convert the 7.2 meters to centimeters. So if you look above at your chart or on your formula sheet, meters to centimeters is times 100. So if I multiply this by 100, I get 720 centimeters. But don't forget that I also had 39 more centimeters to start. So once we find that we have 720 centimeters and 7.2 meters, we're going to add, the 39 initial centimeters that we had to get our total. So 720 plus 39 is 759. All right, let's look at example 2. Convert the following milliliters to liters. So now we are going to look at the chart that has ml and L's on them. We're going from milliliters to liters. So we are dividing by 1,000. So 650 divided by 1,000 is 0.65 liters. Okay. Meters to centimeters. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. Look at your formula sheet or flip back to your formulas on the previous page. Find meters and centimeters and think about which direction you're going. Do you need to multiply or divide, and by what number? You should notice by looking at your chart that there's only one step to get from meters to centimeters, and you are multiplying by 100. So 385 times 100. All right, C, mg to g. mg stands for milligrams, g stands for grams. So find the appropriate chart that has those acronyms, the mg and the g. Think about what direction you're going if you have to start at mg and end at g. In this case, you should be looking at your formula sheet and noticing you have only one step to get from mg to g. It's a division step, and you're dividing by 1,000. 8,562 divided by 1,000 is 8.562. Notice that typically we tend to round to 2 decimals in math, but when we're dealing with measurement and conversions, we want to keep all the decimal places, because if I round that to 8.56, that's not actually 8,562 milligrams, it's 8,560 if I were to convert it back. So we just want to be as exact as possible. D, kilometers to meters. So take a look at your chart. Where do you see a km and an m? Which direction are you going, multiplying or dividing, and by what number? In this case, you should notice again, we have only one step. We are multiplying by 1,000. All right, last thing we're going to look at is some word problems. Example 3. Peter is overweight. He is 105 kilograms. His aim is to lose 500 grams per week. If he manages this, how many weeks until he is 90 kilograms? So we have a bit of a problem here in that we have some of our numbers in kilograms and some of our numbers in grams. We need to make them all consistent. Since we have 3 different numbers, 2 are kilograms and 1 is in grams, it's probably easier to change them all to kilograms, because then I just have one number I have to change. So step 1 is going to be to make the units consistent. So step 1, we are going to change 500g to kilograms. So I'm going to kind of set this up the way that it was on the previous examples. So I'm going to write 500g equals with a blank with my ending unit. So we're going to look at our formula sheet or go back and look at the charts on the previous page. We're going to find the flow chart for g to kg. We're going to remember we're starting at g and going to kg, so we should be dividing by 1,000. 500 divided by 1,000 is 0.5 kg. So we can almost rework the question now. We can go right to the question and just change it. He wants to lose 0.5 kilograms per week. He wants to end up at 90 kilograms. So the next thing we need to figure out is how much kilograms does he want to lose? So he is 105 kilograms right now. He wants to be 90 kilograms. So he wants to end up being 90 kilograms, which means he's trying to lose 15 kilograms. Okay, so that's step 2. He wants to lose 15 kilograms in total. He can lose 0.5 kilograms per week. So really, we're just almost setting this up like a unit rate. Okay. He has 15 kilograms to lose. divided by 0.5 kilograms per week. 15 divided by 0.5 is 30 weeks. And that's our answer. Okay. All right, let's look at example 4. Mary buys a reel of thread for sewing. There are 10 meters of thread on the reel. She uses 210 centimeters. How much is left in centimeters? So again, we have some in meters and some in centimeters. Typically, we would be able to choose, should we make them both meters or should we make them both centimeters? However, this question is specifying that it wants an answer in centimeters. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take the 10 meters that we have, and we need to change it to centimeters. Okay, so we're going to look at our conversion. We're going from meters to centimeters, so we will be multiplying by 100. So really, this question is saying there's 1,000 centimeters of thread. She uses 210 centimeters. How much is left? Well, if she starts with 1,000 centimeters and we subtract the 210 centimeters that she has used, there are 790 centimeters left. And that is working with converting within our metric conversions.